DC has not had the best track record these past few years. It seems there's been a huge decline of quality since the visual masterpiece of The Dark Knight. The launch of Batman vs Superman left most feeling disappointed, but the announcement of Suicide Squad brought new hope to fans of the DC universe, taking interesting risks to bring never-before-seen characters into the cinema.
Risks like these can work very well, as shown in the aforementioned Dark Knight. This was a risk to bring Batman into our gritty reality with its comical characters and story plots, but it really worked out perfectly. The film took itself seriously, as could the audience, because it took mature themes and messages with ridiculous twists seriously, and handled the plots realistically and relatably in our real world, which pains me even more that Suicide Squad wasn't able to get all of this right as well. It's kind of an awkward sibling to Christopher Nolan's critically acclaimed version of Gotham City. However, he became absent from the reins of the universe after the third and final installment of the Dark Knight series, and the series was let off to Zack Snyder, who made these films. But Snyder's not directing this film, instead it's David Ayer from Fury and Training Day?
This is just the dark side of the movie review. The positive half can be found here. Here are some of the glaring issues that arose from a likely rushed production. Pretty much everything, actually. But hey, baby steps, right?
Let's kick it off with the characters. The real drive in Ayer's films, I guess. Some pretty decent actors and actresses were brought in to star as Joker and Harley Quinn, the stupid American Captain Flag dude, Will Smith playing himself as a player, Deadshot, the only relatable character, Diablo, and then every other character that I can't remember. There was a Boomerang Man, I think. It's not really even fair to compare any version of the Joker to Heath Ledger, but I'm going to.
This guy was scary, manipulative, but also brilliant and likable. You can tell that Jared Leto really is trying his best to be a crazy maniac for the Joker. But he comes off as more of a deranged psychopath than a cold-blooded mob leader with an insane side to mask. He wasn't that bad, but most times he was on screen I wished it was Heath Ledger instead. But don't let me mention Harley Quinn. I really wanted to love her character. I really did. She needed to be the character that completed the Joker and had an inseparable chemistry with. Almost like an insane version of Bonnie and Clyde. But they don't spend much time together on screen. But every moment Harley Quinn is on, I cringed. I don't know if it was just bad writing or off-putting editing, but the way she delivered her lines was just unbearable. She didn't seem overly obsessive or innocent at all. She just acted stupid. All of her jokes fell flat. They either interrupted the progression of the scenes or the scenes interrupted her, because the comedic timing was completely off and had overall very uncomfortable scenes all throughout the film. Seeing as this is a dark side of the movie, I'll have to let this go for the other half of the review on the positive side. Both Diablo and Deadshot seem to be very much on the right side, so I'm going to skip down the list of the non-memorable characters, or as I'll call it, the irrelevant characters that the story would have been the exact same without. Luckily for you guys, I had the mispleasure of remembering them. Quick rundown. Boomerang Man has a stupid and useless ability that shouldn't even be in the same movie as Batman, or Harley Quinn. Killer Croc just has his 2 seconds of fame in the movie anyways, so he's not even mentionable.
That's literally it. The guy from Slipknot, really, like the band, was given 1 sentence of dialogue and then just murdered. And then the generic stupid villain who is Decaf Pharaoh from Night of the Smithsonian.
All right. I tell you what, all right. They didn't call me Common Rather Trustworthy for nothing. Here you go. They didn't call me Common Rather Trustworthy.
Chemistry and dialogue in this movie just doesn't work. No one has a motive.
The plot. Spoiler warning here for the rest of this truly terrible movie, but you miss nothing in this completely run-of-the-mill plotline. It's literally the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3D animated movie meets Dirty Dozen. Essentially, ancient artifact is found out of an extremely deadly and advanced ancient civilization long gone. But uh-oh, someone is being stupid, again, and the godlike warriors of the past came back to destroy stuff, I guess? The only semi-reasonable motivation given here is that they want humanity to worship them.
So these former bad guys that no one respects are sent on a suicide mission to save lives and to grant their freedom, I guess, kind of? But in Suicide Squad, you just don't care.
The city is just a setting. It has no character or livelihood to it, and that's important. Your setting is just as important as the characters themselves, and it's just a generic destroyed city cliche number 300,796. So there's all of my investment gone already.
The Enchantress character, while initially visually interesting, is really just becomes this cheesy, stupid thing. It's just so ridiculous that this character is trying to pull off a possessed character in a supervillain movie. It's like Darth Vader ripping out Luke's heart at the end of Empire Strikes Back and eating it because George Lucas wanted to pull off Star Wars and Indiana Jones in one movie.
Maybe if it was a tie-in with the Ghostbusters, but it just doesn't seem to work at all here. The film even brings up how stupid it is to use the supervillains like this anyways, because unlike in The Dirty Dozen, they cared about their country but still committed crimes to keep food on their table. Unless it's them teaming up against a character like Megamind, I don't really see this happening. But this whole "I don't see this happening" idea isn't a one-time deal, it's a recurring concept throughout the entire film.
Characters' actions and events of the film lose your interest completely because they aren't something anyone would do. You know, none of them are going to die, except for that one. So there's no doubt they will succeed without any emotional cost. And they're all nonsensically motivated and make absolutely no sense. Here's a quick example. Luke handing himself in to Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi makes more sense because it kept awareness away from his friends, and I guess he loved his dad, so he wanted to convince him away from the dark side.
But imagine if Han Solo were to hand himself in. That one, on the other hand, would make absolutely no sense. Han is a very selfish and cunning person, and unlike Luke, he has no additional motives to hand himself in, right? Well, Suicide Squad is stuffed full of tons of bad motivations like this. You don't feel like that would really happen, and if it were, it's so ridiculous you don't care if they succeed or not. That seems to sum up the entire story quite well. Just a very below average mess. I'd give it a 4 out of 10 if we're ranking.
Walking this movie, I really didn't know what to think. Everyone was having a goddamn panic attack about it. Unfortunately, I can really only agree with critics.
The fans are very passionate about what they love. But as a fan, I think the best thing we can do is to show them what they got wrong so they can give us a better movie next time. But they should also know the things that they got right. And for you that are curious what could have made up for the wrongs, be sure to check out the other half of this super review that we made. Thanks for watching.